Yeah, and Evan, as you pointed out, that spider crawling on a backpack and getting taken away by a student we don't really see.
Yeah.
Presumably, we'll see other spider people on this show, quite possibly.
There's a reason it went with a person, and there's a reason they chose not to show us the face and the identity of that person.
Yeah. Do we think this is a universe that gets to Spider-Man? Will this, or Spider People from this one bite? Is there any possibility that it crosses over with Spider-Verse? Miguel O'Hara's like, hey, only one spider person in this universe.
Hey, only one person can get bit by a spider here.
Welcome back to the Break Room, everybody. It is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man release week, and it's already confirmed for 3 seasons.
Nice.
Say what? 3 seasons released over the course of like 5 weeks. We'll get into it. There's a lot to talk about. It's the headline show.
Whoa, yes.
Oh, I'm Zach Huddleston. Thrilled to be here on a Monday. Joined by, to my immediate left, Brandon Barrick.
I'm thwipping in, baby.
Woo!
I made this suit at home.
And then recently bitten by a spider with special producer powers. It's Evan Yee.
I'm reading the chats. I'm getting the messages sent. I've got multiple limbs typing for me.
Oh, multiple limbs.
Yeah, wouldn't that... What would be the lamest possible powers to be confirmed by a radioactive spider?
Each of my eyes is reading a different chat window. The legs are just going...
I think if you constantly kept like molting, you left like a shell of yourself everywhere, and as you kept going, that would be.
There's a lot of body horror potential there too.
Yeah.
Sure.
Definitely web coming out of your anus would be probably the worst thing.
But at least you could still you could swing around if you wanted to. If you really wanted to.
By your butt?
By your butt, yeah. You would have to just have a hole in the back of your pants, and it would just be really inconvenient.
Old pajama style?
Yeah.
Old pajamas.
Is that a real? Was that ever a real call-in?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Or was that like dog catchers, where it's like it was a device used in media?
Dog catchers weren't real?
I mean, there was like animal control, but there was not a dog
like
catcher,
out there with the net
driving around in every city.
You know what? Normally, we
gotta stick to the headlines.
This is the charm of the Break Room, that we go off on tangents. But we've got no time today, guys, because we've got so much news to get through.
Arthur Dennis already sending in a super chat. We're doing this live on YouTube and Twitch. Arthur Dennis saying, after X-Men 97, season 2 of animated 90s Spider-Man. Yeah, I think we'll get into
Everyone wants
talk
that.
about some more of these animated shows and what might happen as we talk about your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and also all the other things coming up.
Ooh, we got Star Wars news. We got DC news. We're gonna watch the new Superman teaser. We're gonna watch the Alien Earth teaser. We've got a couple clips from Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. There's a lot to get into. Okay, first up, some Star Wars news. Okay. Last week I glitched.
That wasn't Zach's fault, but we let him do it.
That's okay. So last week we reported it was late breaking news. Ryan Gosling in talks to star in a solo, not solo the character, but solo Star Wars
language,
Yes.
maybe.
And with that potentially being the next post Mandalorian and Grogu Star Wars movie, still unconfirmed by the studio. We got some news on a different upcoming Star Wars project. This long gestating Rey spin-off movie they've hired a writer. It's George Nolfi, who may not be a household name, but he has written some movies that are household names. Ocean's 12, The Bourne Ultimatum.
He also wrote and directed The Adjustment Bureau, which was an interesting adaptation of a kind of fantasy sci-fi novel that starring Matt Damon and Emily Blunt.
Yeah, he's worked with Matt Damon a number of times. So specific details are still unknown. The little bit that has trickled out. Also, presumably the script hasn't been written yet. Yeah. So there's nothing to know quite yet, other than it will star Daisy Ridley's Rey character. And supposedly the new story is said to take place 15 years after the events of 2019's The Rise of Skywalker, with Ridley's character now a mentor to a new crop of Jedis. Interesting, kind of shifting into the Luke role, kind of.
I mean, I guess the biggest question here is, are they able to go forward in the Star Wars universe without a Empire-esque figure, in the form of stormtroopers and TIE fighters and all that? Will these Jedi be involved with the New Republic at all? Are they going to be like the police of the universe again? Or is it going to be more like this is a much smaller scale story that is just focusing on her and whatever like Jedi she's cultivating? Do you bring back the Sith? It's like so many questions. Like, do people want a Star Wars movie involving a Rey character and lightsabers and the Force, but little of what they've known before? Or do they find a way to rehash it all again?
I will say, Skeleton Crew just showed us you can have good guys and bad guys in Star Wars without having them necessarily be Sith
No
or
stormtroopers
Empire.
ever showed up.
Yeah.
We got a couple X-Wings, but it was not mostly about that.
Pirates,
we only
maybe
had
it's a
one
pirate
lightsaber.
movie. Yeah.
No lightsaber fights. Andor's a good example. But, I mean, Andor focuses heavily on the Empire, but,
yes,
is not... that's a less Jedi story. So, yeah... It'll be interesting, especially because it seems like James Mangold's still making this like High Republic movie.
Yes, and all these things are in development, haven't been necessarily slated yet. I think the earliest we would see this movie is 2027, and that's if it happens. Which just because they've hired a writer doesn't mean it will happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of hoping that it is the next movie after Mandalorian and Grogu, just because it's the one that we've seemed to have heard the most about. Like, even though it's very exciting to have an actor like Ryan Gosling potentially star in a Star Wars movie, it would be a shame if they were to rush an idea just for his schedule and have it not be a great script, right? Like we've been saying it a lot as we've kind of been drawing more comparisons to DC and Marvel, but James Gunn's kind of public insistence that the script has to be done before the project is made makes a world of difference, you know?
Yes. Yeah.
And we were talking too, like it seems like they announced this movie a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And we would have thought
right after the release of Rise of Skywalker.
Right.
Yeah.
And it did seem like, well, they're just now getting a writer. What's going on? I mean, it's very possible they've worked out some script treatments in the past. They may have even had more of like a full script that just wasn't what they liked and they're starting over. But whatever story treatment they have probably right now, they feel confident enough in saying like, we're going to hire a writer to develop this story out. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah. So people asking in the chat, like, does this have a release date? No, I think this is still all early talks.
Yeah.
But yeah, best guesses. My hope would be that it's the next movie after Mandalorian Grogu, but the realist in me is agreeing more with Zach. Probably 2027, 2028 even,
Yeah, maybe something that they already have a full script locked in.
Yeah.
That is one of these other movies that have been discussed. Whether it's the Taika Waititi Star Wars, right?
That's right.
There's all kinds of ones that have been mentioned.
My beloved Rogue Squadron movie.
Oh yeah, Patty Jenkins. She said it was dead, and then she was like, "No, it's actually back."
And maybe Lando. Who knows?
Oh yeah.
The Lando stuff is always up in the air.
Glover's schedule. Okay.
I don't think that'll ever happen. The Lando stuff.
Print it. Speaking of space, we also got this awesome Alien Earth teaser. Reminder, this is going to be an FX series coming out this summer. They haven't given us an exact date, just summer 2025, from Noah Hawley, who did Legion and all the seasons of the Fargo series. And we got a quick little teaser here that I think we're going to play. Couple things to know about that. Do we even know like the actors in that series?
Timothy Oliphant's in the show.
Oh, okay. Oliphant.
Yeah.
All we know plot wise, obviously it's set on Earth, and that it takes place before the events of the original Alien movie.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
And we also got this sick poster and tagline. Here we go. We were safer in space. Oh my!
And look at that skull with the you look close enough and it's the globe. Man, sick. Okay.
And this would take place, like you said, before the first Alien movie, but after Prometheus and Covenant.
Yes.
So in this reality, I imagine that Weyland Yutani is aware of what David was up to out in the universe. Michael Fassbender's character.
Yeah.
Kind of the evolution of whatever the engineers were up to and the xenomorphs that he's kind of growing out there. So I would assume this would focus on, their efforts to bring those elements to Earth and what happens when they get here.
Maybe it's all set at a Costco that gets invaded by xenomorphs. You know what I mean? And every episode is just a different aisle that they're slowly working their way
It
through.
would be good to blend Fargo and Alien together. Like the sixth season of Fargo should be the first season.
If you've watched any of the Fargo shows on FX, Noah Hawley has a very distinctive writing style. He likes expansive casts with kind of crossing plot lines, right? Lots of different flavors of bad guys interweaving with each other. Who knows if this show will also feel like that? Obviously, Legion was a very different show from his seasons of Fargo, or it was kind of built around one character. So who knows? We are all very excited for this. I also can't wait to see Alien Romulus was so good last year, and they, had like the Reeboks and kept all the aesthetics from the original movie.
Ooh, yeah.
Like in the Alien and Aliens era. I wonder if this show will do the same thing. That our distant future kind of looks like the mid to late 80s.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lot of that retro futurism in the show,
Ooh, yeah.
which will be really good.
Actually, the show is starring Sydney Chandler, who's the daughter of Kyle Chandler, who's going to be in the new Lantern series. Speaking of...
Kyle Chandler will be in the new Lantern series.
Kyle Chandler will be in the new Lantern series.
Give us all of your Nepo babies. I don't care. You know what? If you're a good actor and you've got good actor kids, bring them on. Jack Quaid's. Let's go. Wyatt Russell's. Let's go.
John David Washington.
Zoe Deutsch's.
Dude, the list runs deep. We also get the casting of iconic Green Lantern villain turned anti-hero Sinestro. This actor Ulrich Thompson, is a Danish actor. He's worked in a bunch of series, including Banshee. Is going to be playing Sinestro in this Max HBO Lantern series starring Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan and Aaron Pierre as John Stewart. It's been pitched as True Detective Green Lanterns.
It's like a murder in the heartland.
Yes, it's set on Earth. And it's from a lot of the creative team that did the Watchmen series. David Lindelof. And crew. So basically, it's going to be awesome. Basically, it's guaranteed to kick ass.
Now, I don't know too much about the Green Lantern Corps and that side of comicdom, but I do know that like Sinestro is one of the main Green Lantern villains.
Yes, he's an antagonist
out there. Like, he wears the yellow ring on his left hand. He was a former Green Lantern, and he kind of like dove into the concepts of fear and ruling by that. But do you think he's going to be like the main villain of this show? Or is this like a weird, he's going to be in 2 episodes? Is he going to be a guy who's like retired and lives in Nebraska now and they just go and interview him or something? Like,
we were talking about that. So much of the True Detective style of doing a limited series, right, is there's an overarching mystery. And we know this show will have that. It's going to be about a murder investigation. Who killed whoever. Like, obviously, they're not going to make the one supervillain that's been cast in the show the murderer. Now, maybe
that's not a mystery, right? If we know from the jump.
Like why they keep coming into conflict with him while trying to solve this murder, or that is like a separate plot thread or something.
And also, he was, he is Hal Jordan's mentor. I mean, Hal Jordan is probably going to be mentoring John Stewart a bit in this. There could be a series of flashbacks that maybe help establish like what his past looks like. Maybe that's the way this character comes into play, and less the kind of like we're fighting against each other, or maybe that's like a last episode battle culmination.
How big do they make his head?
I mean, we've yet to see how big the leader's head
I know. Justice for big heads. If the leader does not have a noticeably engorged cranium, I'm going to be a little
I want it
pissed.
to look like a basketball. It's just like ducked straight to the head.
It needs to look gross. It needs to look like he can't even wear a normal hat. He has to wear like, goofy hat.
He can only make himself a hat with the rave.
He's got to wear a Dr. Seuss rave hat. He's got to wear an old-timey bedtime pajamas hat.
That's right.
He's got to wear a British Guard hat.
Now, Mark Strong...
He's got to wear a Beefeater hat.
Mark Strong, a Pope hat. Mark Strong played Sinestro in the little-loved Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern movie. Mm-hmm. He had a big head. They gave him an appropriately large head.
I want the kind of purplish red face too, and the mustache.
It will be. We've been wondering how they're going to mix, and we're going to come back to this idea of grounded superhero shows. How they're going to mix the kind of more heightened outer space elements of Green Lantern stories, and also just using a ring to make giant glowing fists and swords and stuff like that with grounded detective Midwestern procedural show, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really interesting. I think that's the thing that every time we talk about it on this show is the one thing I'm most concerned about, for sure. But we're going to get Superman first, and we'll get to see a little bit of the tone, at least of how they're going to utilize Green Lanterns and stuff. Yes. Justin Brown in the YouTube chat asking, do you think Guy Gardner from the Superman movie shows up for a cameo in the Green Lantern show? I think...
Yes.
It would be weird if he didn't, right?
That's Nathan Fillion's thing, is cameoing on other stuff, right?
Also, police procedurals, kind of his thing too. Yeah. That dude's done 40 seasons of the
He's no rookie anymore. I think in this series, Sinestro, I think it'll be like a Silence of the Lambs-esque thing, where Sinestro's already been caught and is like,
He's the Hannibal Lecter.
yeah, he's like under the they go to the Lantern Corps to like talk to this guy to be like, because I bet whatever evil is going on, whatever murder they're investigating leads to kind of like the yellow ring side of the universe.
What a great call, Brandon. Book that. Somebody write that down
Book it.
and remind us next year when that
James
show comes
Gunn, I'm available.
Wait,
Damon Lindelof, I'm available.
That's the 26th show, right? That's a 2026?
I believe so.
I don't think that's coming out this year.
No, not this year.
That's next year. Okay. Speaking of staying in the DC world, we've got a new TV spot for Superman. Gird your loins. There's only a few new shots in this.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so don't
That's why I'm girding
brace
my
yourself for a ton of new footage, but it is a fun spot, so we're going to go ahead and play that.
It doesn't look like corn sweat, right?
It does look like John Krasinski.
It
You're
looks
right.
like Krasinski.
Yeah.
The flying shot at the end is new shot, and we were debating. It doesn't look like Game Corn Sweat. There's a variety of people it does look more like.
Now this is like, I think for DCU, right? Getting this flying Superman shot. That's their tough shot, right?
Yes.
I think that's the hardest thing to do. That was the big pull of the original Donner movie. You will believe a man can fly. Like in flight, Marvel has gotten away with it, starting with Iron Man, developing that weird like black void. If someone's flying in a suit, right, they have this like method of like, it's just the head and it's in a black void and they put stuff in front of it. This is a lot different, right? It's got to be like
also
a camera on his face showing how he's flying, and DC's gonna have a lot of flying characters.
Yes. Marvel in general doesn't have that many flying characters too, right? As presented in our current Avengers world. Well, also, I think James Gunn has come out and said that really inspired by Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
And that very realistic flight footage that they used in that film.
Yeah.
So like trying to apply
Yeah,
that
following
here.
him spinning through the rocks
Yes.
is like very much like following a plane.
Yeah, I mean, man, do you think we get a full new trailer at the Super Bowl just in 2 weeks?
So what has been teased is James Gunn is going to be like at the Puppy Bowl or something like that, right? Like,
Do they let him in a room or like?
no, I think he's one of the puppies. No,
I feel like they filmed 50 years worth of Puppy Bowls like 10 years ago. You know what I mean?
And also,
They've just been, like,
for people
letting-
who might not know, can we explain what the Puppy Bowl
No,
is?
no. Absolutely not.
For our friends across the pond, or people born in the last 3 years.
It's called football, but we don't use our feet.
So for a long time, Animal Planet has been running this counter-programming thing on Super Bowl Sunday called the Puppy Bowl.
Yeah.
It's basically just like cameras on like a playpen filled with puppies just running around for hours on end. And
It's been tied to some animal charities, I believe.
yes,
and, like,
there's usually like a commentator doing bits about like, oh, look at that one.
and then at some point they introduced kitten cheerleaders, which I think is like weird.
That is strange.
In a way.
But presumably because of the prominence of crypto in this film and James Gunn's
Crypto the dog, not the blockchain-based currency.
Yeah, not the thing Tom Brady told me to buy. James Gunn has been teasing that there'll be some kind of promotion or he's going to have a presence at the Puppy Bowl. I think also Animal Planet is owned by Warner Brothers Discovery, so they own that channel. So they do not have the Super Bowl, but they do have the Puppy Bowl. So it makes sense that they might be promoting that there. So this is a great opportunity to talk about what we are going to be doing on Sunday, February 9th.
Yeah.
During the Puppy Bowl, during the Super Bowl, okay, in between those two prestigious events, we're going to be live streaming.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to be live streaming here on the Breakroom set. We'll be on Twitch. We'll be on the new Rockstars YouTube channel.
YouTube, yes.
Okay.
Very important to know.
Yes. You'll be able to catch it after the fact on the Breakroom YouTube channel, but live, and we're going to be going for hours, guys. We're going to be starting way before the game, so that if any trailers drop during the Puppy Bowl or before the game, we'll be able to react to them. We'll probably be streaming through the majority of the game, including the halftime show. If Kendrick does something wild, we'll be here.
Yeah.
And you can be here too. Join us.
Yeah, make the game your second screen and make us your first screen.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, please do that. I would love first screen placement on
Brandon is already committed to some feats of strength.
Yeah.
And I will be eating my weight in buffalo wings.
Yeah.
So going wing to wing with Evan, who claims he can best me.
We talking blades? We talking drummies? What are we doing here?
Dude,
we cleaning the bones?
Blades, I forgot about that. My mind is blown.
What do you call them?
Just call wings.
It's all wing! It's all wing!
Oh, but the nomenclature. Throw in the chat. Everybody calls it drumstick. Universal.
They're blades. They're blades.
What do you call the other thing?
They're blades.
Is it a blade or is it a wing?
I didn't know you
I think we've done this before.
We're stuck in this.
Okay, we've got a lot planned. Like the full New Rockstar staff is going to be here. We'll
be taking your questions.
Yeah.
We'll be running polls. We'll be interacting. We'll be reacting.
I do like this. I forgot we did this. HBASO13 bringing up that we did this in San Diego Comic-Con. We did this for D23. Yeah. Yes, we're doing this again. Forgot we did that bingo card for one of the events.
We should do a bingo.
Should we make that on stream with everybody, or should we tease it ahead of time?
We could do
it maybe available, make it available or something like that.
That's a great. Hannah, thank you for reminding
Thank you, Hannah.
Good job, Hannah.
But again, keep an eye out. We're gonna all the details will be on the new Rockstar social and community posts and stuff like that. But we'll be here live talking about all the trailers, getting really excited about we're talking about what we might see, and I think it's gonna be a really great time.
I'm ready for that Mission Impossible Final Reckoning.
Final Reckoning. Yeah. Well, yeah, and we're anticipating a Fantastic Four trailer. Not guaranteed, but heavily implied. Maybe a Jurassic Park Rebirth.
Yeah.
Reborn.
Trailer. Reborn. Yeah.
No, I'm born again.
Oh, okay. You're doing it.
Some people call them blades flats. I forgot about that. Some people
flats
do
and drums.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah.
That's how I know you're not from around here. Call them flats.
It's all wings, baby.
It's all wings.
It's all wing to me.
All right, well, before we move on to the Marvel of it all, too, the last kind of DC update we also have this picture commemorating the Supergirl filming has started. Millie Alcock in a bar that shows up in the comic. James Gunn and Millie Alcock both shared this photo. So excited. Can't wait.
More like Millie all back.
Okay.
Oh, no.
All right.
Do you think...
That's a hard one.
Mr. Gunn has said that this will be the next movie after Superman. Yeah. But there's a rumor that this Sergeant Rock movie is going to get spun up.
That hasn't started filming.
There's a Memorial Day spot, Memorial Day 2026 that DC kind of has a hold on now.
Do they just slap in a Super Pets 2 in there or something like that? Super
Pets 2! Oh my god!
It's possible. But do you think this? I mean, to your point, this Sergeant Rock movie has not started filming. Now, reportedly, the rumor is that Challenger's director Luca Guadagnino is making the movie, and he can shoot it in 2 days.
Yeah,
he can get it done.
That guy makes 3 movies a year.
Also, if it's a practical Sergeant Rock isn't a superhero that needs a ton of CG and all that stuff.
Even though we did see a Sergeant Rock in Creature Commandos,
right.
One of the people that GI Robots is with. This could be an Elseworlds.
Yeah. We know nothing. And this is rumored at this point.
Yeah. But don't you think that they would want to be on a heater? If Superman is great,
have another super-based movie.
But the next movie you do is Supergirl with a rising star,
Yes.
I think so.
No, they also probably want to get out more than one movie a year.
At some point, yes.
Right? Because if one of them is a disappointment, you're screwed for 12 months. Well, we'll stay on this DC beat, okay, everybody? Don't worry.
I heard about this up-and-coming studio.
We are all certified Marvel Disney shills, okay? But I'm willing to certified.
I didn't get my degree yet.
Yeah. I'm willing to cash those DC checks too, baby, okay? Apple TV, Amazon, send it. Hey, I'll shill for anybody.
Hey, Saffron, just make it out to cash.
That's right.
Ben Stiller, if you're watching some of the other videos we do that aren't Severance, come on the show.
Come on the show.
if you're trying to find your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man updates.
Okay, we've got some Marvel updates.
Yeah.
We're obviously about to talk to you about friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, but we've got some other stuff. Recently announced... some news came out via a loose-lipped interview from our good friend Patty LaPone.
Our good friend.
Friend of the show, come on the show, Patty LaPone. Jack Schaeffer said no to a season 2 of Agatha All Along.
Right.
So this is according to Patty LaPone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows how informed she was, but apparently she talked to Agatha showrunner Jack Schaeffer. Jack Schaeffer said that she didn't want to do a second season.
Well, she's paraphrasing Jack Schaeffer saying, Jack Schaeffer was saying, I don't do second seasons. It's too much. Blah blah blah. They want all of this stuff. Now she can say that, but Agatha is a second season of WandaVision, right? It's continue that story. I don't think this necessarily means we don't see another Marvel TV show based on the Wanda Agatha side of the universe of the MCU
100%.
From Jack Schaeffer. I would think there was that rumor right away that they would continue kind of the story of Agatha and Wiccan and Billy going along, and I think that's very possible.
Potentially even in this Vision Quest show,
Right.
that is currently being planned.
Yeah, different showrunner, right? But I think it is. They feel like this is this kind of like 3-piece thing.
Yes.
And
Agatha was a relatively inexpensive show
Yeah.
for Disney to make, especially amongst some of their more recent shows. And I'm sure if and it gets nominated for awards, I'm sure if Jack Schaeffer has another idea to continue that story, Disney would love to work with him.
And we're going to come back to that. We got some other Disney Plus conversations to be had. The Daredevil showrunner, Dario Scardapane, who previously did the Netflix Punisher show. He's been dishing out some real fun quotes. This guy is an interview. Okay, in talking about the difference between Born Again and the OG Netflix show, he said the new show will be a lot less navel-gazing than before. The earlier show, at its best, was fantastic. At its worst, it was two characters in a room talking about what a hero is. Shots fired.
Yeah.
Now, we were talking about before we started rolling that one of the knocks on that series, it could sometimes feel a little padded.
Sure. But I mean, that series was almost 10 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Pretty
Been a long
close at
time.
this point. I mean, shows have changed so much, and like even just the genre of superhero shows has changed so much. There was a lot to love about the original Daredevil series on Netflix and all of the Defender series as a whole.
And
there was plenty of things to criticize
That's right.
them for.
And you can love that show and still agree that it can be improved upon.
Right. But that was a gritty, realistic take on a superhero that like we didn't have a lot of at the time. And they weren't doing a ton of in general.
Yes.
I mean.
And a reminder of the recent history of this show, right? Suppose they had started making the show. Disney saw the dailies and were like, nope.
Yeah.
Right. Supposedly there was not enough action. It was mostly courtroom or too much courtroom stuff. So they fired the people in charge of that show and brought this guy in. So of course he's gonna lean on. We've got more action. There's more stuff going on in this show because that was literally what he was paid to do.
That's true.
Right?
They also,
brought in to do that.
Those Netflix shows were made at a different time in like Netflix's budgetary career. I think they were trying to save money wherever they could. Plenty of TV shows, action-based TV shows, have a lot of sitting around and talking, to save money. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Now, he also had some things to say
Now,
about the Penguin.
our buddy
I'm on this guy's side until he starts talking about the Penguin.
Dario Devil over here, he went on talking about recent DC success show, The Penguin, which we loved, where he said, we're even more grounded, even less stylized, even more rooted in the here and now. I loved The Penguin. We're a little faster, meaner, cleaner in our storytelling.
What if I told you I didn't want that?
I mean, that's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm ready to see it because I really think the Penguin totally showed kind of Marvel television like how you could really do a really well structured season of television and very well structured episodes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Episodes that felt like good episodes of television.
I'll also make an
that
argument.
stand alone.
Again, though, I love how braggadocious this guy is.
Yeah,
Come on the show.
I'm ready to see it.
Come on the show and talk all the S you want. But it also kind of makes sense because of where we are meeting these characters, right? The Penguin, though we had seen that character in the Batman, for all intents and purposes, this was an origin story. This was kind of the first time we're spending time with Oz Cobb, right? We're developing this character in the world around him. Daredevil and Kingpin and everybody, Foggy and
Punishers
Karen and
show,
Punisher.
yeah.
These characters are developed, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, the world's a little different. Time has passed. This world might look a little different than the previous Daredevil world. But, they're kind of picking up more in the middle with this series. So maybe it's less backstory. We don't need an origin story for Matt Murdock. So it is going to be more plot-driven.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, I think you just need enough for newer people to understand, how he is the way he is and where his current spot in the world is. But yeah, and hopefully it moves through things quicker. I mean, they also had so many episodes planned, right, before the creative overhaul.
Yes.
It was 22 episodes or something like that.
Yeah, they were trying to kick it back to old school TV, and now they're like, well, it's gonna be 10, 12 or something like that.
Two seasons of 10 or something
or
like
two seasons
that.
of 9 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, something along those lines, right?
Will we get a Gossamer flashback to Matt Murdock's dad boxing at some point in the show?
100%.
Will
We
they
see
use,
that?
Yeah.
Even this, will they use any footage from the Netflix show.
Ooh.
Oh, that's a
Like footage of like steak or something like that? Or
Yeah.
like any footage.
Can they? Legally,
I think they might
They
have
own
to.
it. It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But
I think they might have to at some point. If there's like a weird flashback they need to do.
could be very interesting. And regardless, we're all so excited for Daredevil Born Again. And I love that this guy is out there
I'm ready.
picking some of the best shows right, in recent memory and being like, yeah, we got a beat.
I just want to highlight this chatter. Captain Cannabis saying, all I'm going to say, if Matt's going for Penguin, you better be careful. That MFer got a surprise choke attack.
Oh, that's right. Cobb by the waterfront.
Yeah. Yo, they call you the Daredevil or something?
Hey, wait. You have delicious icy. It's so good.
Also, all these shows are right in my wheelhouse. I want gritty New York all day, all night. I gobble.
I poked this guy in the eye. It didn't do nothing to him. Kept coming at me.
First off, we want to shout out NerdRiot.shop.
Oh,
Look,
yeah.
I have this shirt
Whoa,
on.
jeez.
Speaking of,
What just happened?
I'm wearing, the studio's a little cold today. Otherwise, I'd
is
be wearing
cold,
just
yeah.
this. We're all wearing layers.
A little
But,
cold. Why you could get your very own Breakroom hoodie
There you
and
go.
be so nice and warm.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Evan's got the hat.
For when you have to run out of your house and you haven't showered today.
Oh, Jesus.
And we've got, I was wearing one of the Daredevil shirts. There's multiple Daredevil options. We've got some friendly neighborhood Spider-Man options.
Yeah, I
including
love
this
this
brand
shirt.
new design.
One of my
Just-
favorite designs in a minute.
Just
Yeah.
went live on the shop. Homemade suit, it's called.
We also have the Wingspan shirt for Captain America 4.
Oh.
Yeah.
Look at that. Isn't
Look at
that
that
nice in a
wingspan.
red, too.
Yeah, I saw Spidey Sensei in the chat saying that their Daredevil shirt had just arrived. I think it was the split one, the split face one. Great. Love to see it. If you ever get any merch, take a picture of yourself with it, or take a picture that you got it, send it to us. At the Breakroom, at New Rockstars. We repost it and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, check out nerdride.shop. Also, check out Miracle Made.
Yeah,
who's
we're-
one of today's sponsors.
We're all about good sleep here. The temperature you sleep at has a huge impact on the quality of your sleep. If you're constantly waking up because you're too hot or too cold, you got to try Miracle Made sheets, okay? I use these. I love them. Miracle Made's fabric was inspired by NASA. So it's also
Regulated.
thermoregulated. There's a lot of syllables in that word.
Too much of a word for the teleprompter.
That's right. Yeah. That means you'll sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. Plus, these sheets are crazy comfortable. I mean, insane. Without the high price tag of other luxury brands. Plus, Miracle Made sheets are infused with silver that prevents bacterial growth, bacteria that can clog your pores, causing acne breakouts, all that kind of bad stuff. Sleeping on Miracle Made sheets is good for your skin. Upgrade your sleep this year. Go to trymiracle.com/breakroom to try Miracle Made sheets today. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for a loved one, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use our promo code BREAKROOM at checkout, you'll get a free 3-piece towel set and save an extra 20%. Nice. Miracle is so confident in the quality of their product, it's backed with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you aren't 100% satisfied, you'll get a full refund. Upgrade your sleep with Miracle Made. Go to trymiracle.com/breakroom and use the code BREAKROOM to claim your free 3-piece towel set and save over 40%. Again, that's trymiracle.com/breakroom to treat yourself.
Also, we want to thank Prolon L Nutra today. Prolon's fasting mimicking diet is a revolutionary plant-based nutrition program that nourishes your body while making cells believe they're fasting. After eating everything that wasn't nailed down during the holidays, Prolon's 5-day fasting program was the perfect way to kickstart my health for 2025. After fasting, I had more energy, lost some fat, and I had better skin. Plus, it's easy to start because Prolon maps everything out for you. The 5-day program includes snacks, soups, and beverages designed to keep your body in a fasting state. No guesswork or planning required. You get some motivation and some guidance from longevity and nutrition coaches. So if you purchase a Prolon 5-day kit, you gain free access to the January Fasting Challenge. Groups start every Sunday in January, and January's almost up, so you can start when it works for you. Prolon's January Fasting Challenge is a coach-led program to set you up for fasting success. This program was researched and developed for decades at USC's Longevity Institute and is backed by leading US medical centers. Ready to make 2025 your healthiest year yet? Order your Prolon 5-day kit at prolonlife.com/breakroom and join in on their fasting challenge today. Again, new groups start every Sunday in January, and plus Prolon is offering the Breakroom listeners 15% off their 5-day nutrition program for your post-holiday glow up when you go to prolonlife.com/breakroom. All right, should we get into Spider-Man?
Hey, let's
talk about
do
Spider-Man.
it. Okay. We've got a handful of clips that have been released over the last few days. and episode titles, along with the unique release strategy they're employing on this show.
And the confirmation that season 3 is a go.
Yeah.
Season 1 hasn't even shown up. It hasn't even premiered yet.
We're going to come back to that and what that could mean about the show, the general Disney Plus strategy for Marvel. But let's go ahead and play one of the first clips here. Day in the Life.
Thanks for your help, Spider Guy.
It's actually, Spider-Man.
Marvel Animation's Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Available this Wednesday.
Hey, a lot of new footage there, different clips, really emphasizing this, like, what we already knew about the show, grounded high school, crime fighting reality.
First year of Spider-Man.
Spider-Man year 1, right? A lot of fun stuff there. Why don't we just go ahead and watch the other clip as well?
This is a longer clip, presumably from episode 1. Here we go, Spider Bite. Passed out.
to him?
Look at the little spider.
That's Aunt May.
Yeah, that's Aunt May.
Look at the spider.
Hey,
Whose backpack?
Whose
is that?
backpack?
Peter, talk to me.
I mean, very, very Marissa Tomei, Aunt May style. Again, when they kind of first announced the show, it seemed like it was gonna be more of a Tom Holland MCU Spider-Man, their first year, but then
Before
they moved away.
Homecoming, basically, or
before the events of the Civil War stuff. And now we know it's like a different universe, different timeline, and we're gonna see like a bunch of characters. Some of we've seen in the MCU already, and some we haven't. And like Charlie Cox is coming to voice Daredevil. Vincent D'Onofrio is gonna voice Kingpin. But these are still like separate. It's like a whole new universe.
And of course, that last clip had a couple intriguing things. How did the school get that giant hole in the wall? Presumably the same thing caused that hole that might have released this spider.
Right.
If it's maybe an Oscorp connected type of situation.
Yeah. And there's a prequel comic that kind of dives into this a little bit. But basically, that big hole happens at Midtown High. So this is a Peter who's not going to Midtown as well. He's going to go to a different school afterwards because they're basically like, we can't repair the school in time, so you're gonna have to find a new school. So him and Nico kind of become friends, and they're like, well, where should we go? What should we do? Interested in seeing if the prequel comic will, some of the events in that show up in the show. But yeah, there are definitely some interesting little divergences as we're seeing, right? From what we understand as Spider-Man.
Yeah, and Evan, as you pointed out, that spider crawling on a backpack and getting taken away by a student we don't really see.
Yeah.
Presumably, we'll see other spider people on this show, quite possibly.
Because why not show the spider getting squished by Peter? Why not show the spider just wandering off into a bush? Right? There's a reason it went with a person, and there's a reason they chose not to show us the face and the identity of that person.
Yeah, at least in this clip, right?
Yes, at least in this clip. And that made us think of this wonderful promotional image that came out at Comic-Con or D23 of all the characters that are going to be a part of the show. And one thing to note there's a whole bunch of Spider-Man looking characters in different costumes, right? Especially along that bottom row. Now, we've kind of assumed this might be an evolution of spider suits as we spend time with Peter and he gets different suits. But also, it could be different characters that have been spider-bit. Potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, do we think this is a universe that gets to Spider-Man? Will this, or Spider People from this one bite? Will that is there any possibility that it crosses over with Spider-Verse? Miguel O'Hara's like, hey, only one spider person in this universe.
Hey, only one person can get bit by a spider here. I mean, unfortunately that's the Sony of it all would be tough to work out.
Yeah.
But I think they might have multiple spider people in this show. We know that, in this series, Norman Osborn is going to be his mentor, the way Tony Stark was in the MCU. So he's definitely going to be tied to a company that can make other suits. They've teased in the trailer that kind of Future Foundation suit.
Yeah.
The all white one.
Yeah.
I would think that probably came from Oscorp at some point.
Do you think there would be a second person mentoring a second possible spider person, a villain or someone who's like, hey, actually, let's use your powers and kind of mess up New York City.
That could be fun.
That
could be very interesting.
Yeah. Actually, bring up the picture again, Dashel, of all the people. Yeah, because we, like you said, we do get these multiple suits. And it will be interesting to see if he puts on like the more traditional suit, because in most of the promo images, we see him in this kind of like homemade suit, right? That we see in the
kind of hockey jersey looking suit. Yeah.
We've seen the white suit already, kind of him, and we assume that's probably the Osborn Corp suit. And there's a black suit on the far right.
Yeah, that's like the Dusk character. And some of those, suits were in the comics, and they were. It wasn't Peter Parker. It was like someone else in the suit.
Sure. Yeah.
And also like Chameleon's in that image, right? And Chameleon was Spider-Man's first villain, and Chameleon pretended to be Spider-Man. And rob a bunch of banks. That's why a lot of New Yorkers don't trust Spider-Man. The first memory of Spider-Man is him robbing banks.
You think they get the guy from Craven to voice Chameleon, Fred Hetchinger?
Oh man, I think they'll bring him in just to do the songs.
Oh yeah, the singing.
Remember Craven?
Wow. No. Remember when we were really excited about Craven?
Oh, that was a fun movie.
I mean, that first trailer, dude, we bites the dude's nose.
Bites the nose.
It's still in the movie. Don't worry.
It's all downhill from there.
They didn't cut it. They didn't cut the CGI spiders.
No.
It's all
now, let's talk a little bit about some of the release strategy and the news around this show.
Yeah.
So we have the episode titles. And as you can see, there's going to be 12 episodes total. 10, sorry. Thank
Across
you.
4
You counted
weeks.
better me. But yeah, they're releasing them weekly across 4 weeks. So there's going to be 2 episodes dropped, and the next week 3, the week after that 3, and then the final week 2. It's a unique strategy, right? It's somewhere between a binge model and a weekly release. We've speculated some on why they might be doing that. We don't know yet, and maybe it'll be revealed when we watch those episodes, and they're kind of like capsule episodes. Like maybe the first 2 kind of go together naturally. The next 3 kind of go together naturally and tell like one story arc. Also, we've speculated it's just so they can get the show done before Daredevil Born Again starts.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'd kind of be remiss to say, like, in the past, when I've been on the show talking about Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, when that release schedule happened, it kind of worried me. And when the first trailer happened, I think that actually came out first. Really worried about the animation. I'm still a little bit worried about it, but I will say, sometimes here at New Rockstars in the Breakroom, we get some episodes early as press. I've watched the first 2 episodes.
Okay.
It's really fun.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I want to publicly apologize because I was really worried about it. But it's really fun. I'm still a little hesitant about the animation. It still doesn't quite work for me, but the storytelling is really great. Okay. So yeah.
The little bit I saw at D23 was a lot of fun. I'm very excited to hear Coleman Domingo as Norman Osborn.
Current Oscar nominee, Coleman Domingo.
Go check out Sing Sing. I know, I'm sure a lot of Academy voters aren't watching The Breakroom, but watch that movie because it's a great movie.
Hey, they might be.
We skew below the line. I happen to know Dame Helen Mirren, giant fan.
Yeah.
So along with that kind of interesting release strategy, the kind of multi-episode weekly release, right? We got this news that the show's already been renewed. Is that the terminology they're using? For a third season.
Yeah.
So that means much like X-Men 97, right? Season 2 was already in production when season 1 was released. And it got renewed for a third season that kind of like they gathered that writer's room right after the first season came out.
Yeah.
So they're kind of following a similar model here, largely because I think animation, the production takes so long, right? So that they write the show and then like it goes off to the animators who take a really long time to make it. And so like those timetables are more divorced than they often are in live action, right? Where like you can be writing a show, live action, sometimes they write shows as they're filming earlier episodes. You can't do that with animation because they take so long to make. So presumably it's like that. Now again, like when we were talking about the Rey movie at Star Wars, this doesn't necessarily mean we will get a third season.
That's true.
They write, sometimes stuff gets written or begins production and then they kill it. Let's hope that's not the case.
Yeah.
Let's hope they're invested in this and they're like, let's keep pumping this out.
Does seem we get at least 2. I think Brad Winderbaum in that interview where he said that they were working on the third season, it seemed to indicate that season 2 was almost in a way more completed than season 2 of X-Men 97, Obviously a lot of different maybe kind of, behind the scenes stuff happening between both shows.
Yes.
But I'm very curious to see how this show is going to do, how the season is going to do with these multiple episodes. I just wanted to jump back too. If we can bring up the episode titles again, it does seem like I thought, one of them initially thinking, oh, these episodes probably are of a piece, right? If they share the same arc. I think that third week is going to be a little bit different. Duel with the Devil, Scorpion Rising, Tangled Web. You could read them all in the same way, but like kind of Nico Minoru's like magical elements make me think that maybe that's a separate episode and Scorpion could be its own thing.
Mephisto confirmed?
If Mephisto happens in this
If
show
Mephisto
before,
shows up animated before live action, I mean, does Eric Voss's head still pop?
ooh,
We'll find out. Tune in in a couple weeks.
in.
Well, I also think like if presumably like we're guessing we're gonna get X-Men 97 season 2 next year.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe they're also thinking like, cool, we'll alternate years. Every other year. Every year you get either a season of X-Men 97 or a season of Friendly Neighborhood
yeah.
Spider-Man. What If is done. That was kind of their first animated franchise. But now these are their two kind of other animated franchises. From what we've heard, Eyes of Wakanda is kind of a one-off.
Yeah.
Marvel Zombies might also be a one-off.
Yeah.
Right? And so maybe we get some other animation sprinkled in, but maybe they're like, these will be the two shows that we ride for a while.
Yeah, that's true, because those two series could be more like Tales of the Jedi, right? In Star Wars, or Tales of the Empire, whatever. The Tales of series where it's like, okay, here's a bunch of episodes just kind of off the cuff. Here, take them, you know?
Yeah.
And that could be the way they do these kind of like, I guess you could view it almost as a special presentation, but it's not. It's like a TV version of it in the sense of like the same world, but this theme. Or, you know, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. You know,
Actually, a
we're
good
here
way
for
to-
it.
yeah.
So far, we've loved X-Men 97, and we're hearing great things, mostly from Evan, about Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah,
so I'm
it's
here for
great.
it. Give us a bunch of seasons.
And again, we'll be doing the after show live around this time, 3 p.m. Pacific, on Wednesday. So come back and check out, kind of Eric and Brandon and Jessica's first reactions and thoughts to that episode.
Yeah.
I'd love to take some chat questions about Spider-Man if we're good for that. So shout out Slade903 for sending in a super chat. Dev in the Water saying, "Hear me out. Austin Butler is Doc Ock."
Oh, mama.
Oh god.
Oh, mama, I got 8 arms. Mama.
I got the power of the sun in my hand. Power of the sun in my hands, mama.
It was a hot mama. I like it.
I like hiring somebody like Austin Butler for voice acting, right? This like beautiful human, but then we just hear him, and maybe even you give him. We know what Doc Ock looks like,
but you make him do
right?
a
Bring
weird
up the
voice.
promotional image. He's in there,
Yeah.
right?
He's like he's very comic
accurate, bowl cut, chubby guy.
Yeah.
But to give that
chubby guy.
I mean, come
he's
on.
muscular.
He's muscular.
He's not
Husky.
eating out of the break room.
He's husky. I'm not judging his BMI.
husky.
Okay, I'm just saying he's thick. He's thick boy.
I mean, they did Doc Connor, or they did Dr. Octavius kind of dirty in the video game. I feel like he was paunchy. In
Yeah, they gave him a gut. Yeah.
He was a paunchy boy.
Yeah.
Balding.
Austin
Give him a
Butler,
bowl
are you
cut.
balding?
I mean, no.
We know he can play bald,
Oh,
and bold, bald and bold.
He's the master of the air.
Yeah.
There we
Oh,
go.
mama. I just want to go home.
I'm tired of flying these planes, mama. Emmanuel asking, what do you have to say about them replacing the classic Spidey characters with more obscure characters like Nico and Wave? Wave, Pearl, who's a character we saw in the kind of day in the life of Clip.
I think I'm going to jump in. I think this is very fun.
Yep.
The more they want to take these comics and make them into TV shows, like, don't just copy stories that are already done.
We've seen it
Play
so
around
many
with
times.
it. I've been catching up on My Friendly Adventures with Superman. No, My Adventures with Superman. I combined a bunch of names together. My Adventures with Superman, which is like always trying to kind of subvert who you think people are going to be and who they turn out to be. I think that's fun. And I really liked in X-Men 97 how they threw Magic and they threw Sunspot into the team. Or they were bringing in other characters from across like X-Men generations and just kind of like, no, they can all exist in this time.
It's not like we're not going to get Mary Jane at some point.
Yeah.
Also,
Right?
subvert my expectations. I don't need to see Gwen Stacy's neck snap.
Yeah, it's like
put in new characters. Also have like a ton of characters. I think it's really fun.
I think that's really cool, right? Like, also these are comic book characters, maybe with altered origins or appearances or ages or whatever. But like, that's cool. Don't you want more superhero characters in your superhero media, right?
Yeah, and also lets Marvel kind of test the waters, right? If people are like, oh, I actually kind of dig this character. Like a lot of people love Nico Manero from Runaways. That maybe we could run a series with this character or introduce this character in live action in the main MCU. See how they do there. Maybe there's something there, right?
Yeah. Also, it's a nice way to separate it from the live action.
Yes.
Right? And even from the Spider-Verse, right? Like, let these stories be different. Let the cast of characters be different. Spider-Man exists in these worlds, but like, right, he can date somebody else. He can have a different best friend in this one, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's complaining to Nico, and Nico's like, "What are you complaining? We got bit by a spider. I got powers. I got magical demons coming through a portal.
I'm not gonna be your guy in the
I'm not
chair.
gonna be. Yeah. Get over it. We all got powers here at school.
Yeah.
You're a loser, Peter Parker.
Super school. Captain Cannabis asking, I cannot wait to see how Daredevil ties into the show. Yeah, right? So I wonder if the Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio casting happened while they were like, can we make this 616? And now there's this weird like, well, legally they signed a contract. It's not going to be 616 anymore. But
I think
we'll
that's
let
more.
them do it,
I think it's more fun too. It's a good way to kind of like put those characters together.
Yeah.
It's also Vincent D'Onofrio's a Nexus being like nobody else can ever portray Kingpin in any medium. Who's not Vincent D'Onofrio, you know?
Well, I guess he doesn't. Who does the voice in Spider-Verse?
It's not him.
It's not him, right?
No, it's not him.
No, it was it wasn't Mark. I lost who it was.
Oh, is it a person? It's a name?
It's a name.
Oh, okay.
It's a name. It's a big actor.
Captain Cannabis, how many blunts do you give the promos for Friendly Neighborhood?
How many points? Reed
Is it
Hoyle.
3 out of 4?
Reed Hoyle also pointing out that the actor Zach Cherry, who's in Severance, you kind of get a clip of his character.
Do
in
a
the
flip!
game. Yeah, and he's appeared in the Spider-Man and Shang-Chi movies. Yeah, you see an illustrated character that looks a lot like him at least. So it's probably a fun little nod. To
Good
that
year
guy.
for Zach Cherry.
Yeah,
good
man.
year.
We didn't talk enough about him on last week's episode of Severance, but we'll get to more Dylan conversations soon. Let's see. We also had H-13 asking, do you think they wait until the finale for him to get his real suit? Like his kind of classic
it kind of
red
feels
and
that
blue.
way,
Yeah.
right? I bet in that kind of like the final 3 episodes. I think somewhere in there. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, it could be fun. It'll be interesting. Like, what if this first season, haven't seen the first 2 episodes, Brandon and I haven't watched any, like covers a full school year? Maybe there's even some kind of mini time jumps between these
would be fun.
different episode releases, right? So that like, you can kind of like cover some time. Certainly if he's going to show off. We also don't know like that giant cast of characters and all those different suits.
Yeah.
We may not even see all those in season 1.
Oh, that's
If they've already
a
been
great
planning
point.
season 2. Some of those might be season 2 characters and looks, right?
And like we might only see like Captain America in a photograph, right?
Yeah.
That like we saw in the trailer.
Do you think there's just a getting dressed montage in which he puts on all the costumes, but that's the only
Not
time
this
we'll
one.
see
Not
it?
today, Peter. Oh, this one's too tight. There's no snow today. I don't need this one.
He's looking at like the Iron Spider suit and goes,
Yeah.
next time, baby.
I can't afford the electric bill. The Daredevil in this too, in that promo, he's kind of like the black suit Daredevil.
Oh,
so
yeah,
I wonder
that's
if like
right.
Daredevil's like, hey, your suit looks like crap. Let me introduce you to my guy. And he makes the red and blue suit.
Maybe. Oh, yeah.
And Aunt May's like, I can't afford this, Peter.
You just made her so much older than she
I
is.
kind of went a little Lois Griffin, I think.
Yeah. How do we feel out there? How do we feel about there in general? Obviously, I think Marissa Tomei's performances, Aunt May, is pretty universally beloved. But how do we feel in general about younger, sexier Aunt Mays versus older grayers? Not that older gray is not sexy. I'm on record as saying,
Older Grayers.
Dame Helen Mirren, come on the show. I think you're still sexy. But, right, they keep aging her
Well,
down.
I mean, technically, Aunt May in the MCU is the same age as Aunt May in the Tobey movies. She's just dressing up. She's dressing older.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right? Sure.
If you get that old lady to dye her hair, throw on some high-waisted jeans, come on.
You do a little she's all that. Take down the ponytail and take
don't
off the
wanna
glasses, you know?
Promise to be over.
Rachel Lee Cook, come on the show.
Please.
Rachel, has anybody ever made a letter Rachel Lee Cook joke?
Oh,
No,
I mean, you
and
could
they
be
never
the
will.
first.
They never will.
The one thing I also wanted to bring up in one of the promos from last week, there was also a quick shot of what looked like one of the action scenes in Civil War. It looked like
Right.
Ant-Man as kind of a giant,
Grabbing.
Rhodey,
Rhodey, right?
would have been
was
Rhodey, yeah,
flying
yeah.
away.
So, we've said it a few times already. The show was supposed to try to tie into 616. It's not going to anymore. Or not 616. The MCU. It's not doing that anymore. How do we think Civil War factors into this? Do we think it's going to be actually part of the show? Do we think that there could be some multiverse shenanigans that he sees something I think Doctor Strange is in that picture as well. Does he show him the other universes? What do we think?
Yeah, It would be weird if they're gonna be like, oh, this Spider-Man also goes to like Civil War, to the Leipzig airport and has the battle that's in Civil War. I like the idea that it's from like a different universe.
Yeah.
And somehow he sees that image, Doctor Strange flying through universes with a Polaroid camera or something like that. Because it does seem if in this universe Norman Osborn is his mentor, how does he get to the Leipzig airport, right?
Yeah, that's
unless the Green Goblin is the Iron Man of this universe.
He's watching it on TV, but then it's like, do we have to explore like what the ramifications?
He's on a school trip to Austria, and they're trying to just fly home.
Yeah.
They made that movie.
Yeah,
that was Far From Home.
He was far from home in that movie. I don't get it.
He was on a school trip in Europe.
I don't get it.
What
He was just on a green screen
Did
set.
anybody else get to do school trips to Europe?
Ooh, I did a trip to China actually.
Damn,
there
through
was
school?
There was a program that was like through universities around the time when I was going to high school and middle school, where they would basically colleges would pay for your whole, or that program would pay for your whole 2-week trip, all expenses paid except the flight. And you would get to go to China, and we would meet like people from all over the U.S. who had just like come here via this program. It was kind of
Can I go to your high school?
I guess so.
I would take that trip now.
Our high school German teacher, every 2 years, he would run a trip to Europe, but not through the school.
Yeah, just a side hustle.
It was basically a side hustle, but he would take like a bunch of students and also like a bunch of like grown-ass adults he knew from his life.
We also had that. We had one of our like
but
gifted
our
teachers
parents
would do that,
thought like, oh, this is through the school, but it was not through
Side
the school.
gig.
And we
Side
did
gig.
not have to follow
But there were
the
teachers.
rules.
Oh, no.
There was that one teacher there,
Okay.
and then we were on our own.
Cool.
Yeah, seeing some people in the chat. Sarah said the school offered a trip to Spain. Christian saying went to Quebec City. The Euro trip for the band kids. Also something that was offered for me. Australia, says Shri.
Wait, Christian Unpronounceable got to go to Quebec City, but he's from Canada, right? So that's an inter-country trip.
It's a big
country. Yeah. I mean, but like, I got to go to Washington D.C. when I was in 6th grade. Like, we rode a train. Like,
We went to St. Augustine.
that's in the state. We didn't even get to leave the state,
know.
man.
But they did let us go to the Ripley's, believe it or not, museum.
I've been to that one.
They had a mermaid. How's the water going up this pipe?
All right, as we kind of wrap things up here, what's one thing you guys hope to see in these next 10 episodes of Your Friendly Neighborhood
The Spider-Man show.
Yeah.
I'm always a fan of this. I like being surprised. I like, as Brandon was saying, subverting expectations. I want to see a character die.
Ooh,
I see,
okay, like a heavy...
named canonic character, not like Glenn, my lab partner, who's being introduced for the
Damn,
first
poor
time.
Glenn.
I want to see somebody who were like, oh, cool, that character, they'll be around. What? Right? Like, I want some stakes.
I would like to see the Chameleon do some cool stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like they haven't done anything fun with the Chameleon. Now, original Chameleon sprayed a gas out of his belt that let him like mush up his face. They're not gonna do that, I bet. But if they do, I'm in for it.
Okay.
But I would like some like cool Chameleon stuff, some good use of Chameleon.
I would want to just see Iron Man go, Spider who? And not give a scrank about this kid.
I do love it. Obviously, this is in most of the presentations of Spider-Man, but when he's telling that shopkeeper at the end of that one clip, call me Spider-Man, and it's like, bro, you look 11.
Yeah.
You're not blank man
Hey.
of anything. You know what I mean? You're a Spider Boy.
Hey, he's just a kid. He's just a kid. Spider-Man 2.
Oh, yeah.
Spider-Man 1? Spider-Man 2.
Spider-Man 2.
just a kid.
What's the misquoted line everyone likes to say? Don't touch him, he's a hero, or whatever. Don't hurt him. Or be gentle, he's a hero. You know, where they're like,
where they pass them in the Christ pose.
Christ pose. Is that after the train?
Yeah, after he stops his train.
Yeah.
He's just a kid. I got a kid too.
Do we see? Have they already shown? Are we going to get a stop a train sequence in this?
They did show. I think there was a shot in the
That looks
of the
adjacent.
train. Yeah. Him
Yeah.
like kind of like swinging next to a train.
Sure, we will. Yeah. Also, I mean, you know, that moment in Homecoming when he's sealing up the ferry and he
Yeah, it's pretty
manages to
good.
do it for a second. What a
kinda
great little moment before it all
what a
comes
great
apart
little
for him.
Yeah.
What a great little moment.
Yeah. Well, that's it for us today.
It's enough. We packed a lot in.
Yeah, so many headlines.
Wednesday.
Drop your Spider-Man thoughts. Drop all your thoughts about all your favorite IP
Drop
in the comments.
pants. Drop anything.
Stop telling people
Stop,
to do
drop,
that.
and roll. Whatever you
drop,
need to do.
Stop, drop, shut him down, open up shop.
Shop. Whoa.
Nice.
remember, mark your calendar. Sunday,
Yeah.
February 9th. We're going to be here, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're going to be reacting to anything that comes out, all the big trailers. We'll be watching the game too, but that won't be the main focus.
When people
Yeah.
tell you to be quiet during the commercials, you tell them to be quiet because you're watching New Rockstars.
New Rockstars. Again, New Rockstars YouTube, Breakroom, Twitch will be live on that day. So come on by, give us a follow on all those channels. Follow Breakroom NR on all the socials. Catch you later. See ya.
Bye.